So mail fraud is a real big deal, particularly with the ERC claim. So we've had a number of clients who have either never received their check or in even worst case scenarios have had their checks stolen out of their mailbox and fraudulently cashed by the thief. And so, unfortunately, this happens way too often and is a very real concern. And the reason it's a concern is particularly as it relates to the ERC, these checks are for significant amounts of money. And when the Department of Treasury issues a check, it's pretty obvious when the envelope they're sending contains a check. And so it's a real target for thieves and fraudsters to go through mailboxes and steal those out of your mailbox. So what do you do if you've lost your ERC check, if it's been stolen, if it never arrived? How do you even tell if it has arrived? So I'm going to walk you through a couple of things that you can do to help to identify if a check's been issued and what to do if you think it's been stolen. So first thing you want to do is you want to contact the IRS and request a transcript. So the way you could do that is by filling out Form 4506. Form 4506 allows you to request a transcript. And a transcript is exactly what it sounds like. It's a list of every transaction in your business account, and you'll request a transcript for the period of time which you claim the ERC. So if you claim the ERC for example, the fourth quarter of 2020, you would request a transcript for the period ending December of 2020. The third quarter of 2020 would be September of 2020. And so you request a transcript for your payroll taxes. So your Form 941. So you want to request a transcript for all the transactions related to payroll taxes, which is Form 941 was where that's reported. So that's number one. And when you receive that transcript, what will happen is you'll see all the tax deposits you made. And then if there's been any refunds issued, it'll say, COVID payroll tax credit refund, and it'll be a negative amount. And it'll be the amount of the check that was issued to you. So having a transcript is an easy way to see whether or not a check's been issued. You can also call the IRS too and ask to speak to an agent. Now, as we know, IRS is understaffed and overworked. And so being able to get a hold of somebody who could answer that question is not always easy. And there's a lot of long hold times and wait times involved there. But an agent can tell you if they've issued a check as well, and what the address was that they issued it to, who they made it out to, when it was issued, all of that. Now, so let's say you identified that your ERC was processed, they mailed a check, but you never got it. What happens next? So you'll want to fill out what's called Form 3911. So Form 3911 is just simply a form that you fill out that you make a statement to the government saying, hey, I did not receive my federal refund. And it's a very simple form to fill out. You put your name, address, phone number, tax ID number. Now you do this for the business, right? It's not you individually. You're doing it for the business. The business is the entity receiving the refund, and you submit that to the IRS. And that starts the process whereby the IRS will now do an investigation to see, well, was the check cashed? If it was, they're able to get a copy of the check that was cashed and see the name and the signature attached to it. And so we've gone through this a couple of times with clients as well, where the IRS has done an investigation. They get a copy of the check, and the check was altered. There was a name. You see these frauds, they'll type a name, an additional name on the check, endorse the back of it, and they'll sign it and they'll deposit it. So at that point, then you're able to let the agency know that, well, this is clearly a fraudulent transaction, and the criminal investigation department will track that down and begin the process of collecting the funds there and then issuing a reimbursement once they confirm the transaction was indeed fraudulent. And so then they would reissue a check back to the taxpayer, a new one. That's Form 3911. Now, you may still need some additional assistance with this. And so another form to use is just Form 911, is the request for assistance from the Taxpayer Advocate Office. So the Taxpayer Advocate Office is an office within the IRS that is an advocate for the taxpayer. It's kind of like an internal watchdog organization. And so the Advocate Office is there to help resolve errors in the IRS process. So you could submit a Form 911 to the Taxpayer Advocate and explain the situation that you'd filed for the ERC and that you did not receive the check, and it appears it was cashed or stolen or whatever it may be. And you'll be assigned a Taxpayer Advocate agent who will be your representative to help work through the IRS bureaucracy to get a resolution to that matter. So those are three forms that you could use if your check's been lost or stolen or cashed. Form 4506, the transcript, request a transcript will tell you if a check's been issued. Form 3911 is the statement about a missing refund. And Form 911 is a request for the Taxpayer Advocate to assist. So hopefully that's helpful. It's forms that we use all the time. They're very easy to fill out and submit, and we encourage you to do that if you are missing an ERC check.